Hello, adaptive instinct warriors. If you've never experienced severe depression, it's easy to look at it from the outside and think it's just a prolonged bout of sadness. We use the word depressed casually all the time. I'm so depressed that my favorite show got canceled. Or, this rainy weather is depressing. But clinical depression, major depressive disorder, isn't an emotion. It is a systemic, multi-organ, life-altering illness. It rewires how you perceive time, how your body physically moves, and how your brain communicates with itself. When it takes hold, it doesn't just change your mood, it alters your identity. And yet, the most frustrating part for millions of people isn't just the illness itself. It's the fact that they are doing everything right. They take their prescribed medication, they show up to therapy, and still, the fog never lifts. Today, we're going to look at the harsh reality of why depression completely reshapes a person's life and dive into the complex science of why modern medicine completely fails to cure it for a massive portion of the population. To understand why depression is life-altering, we have to look past the mind and look at the physical brain. Prolonged severe depression actually changes the physical structure of your brain. Neuroscientists have found that chronic depression can cause an area called the hippocampus, which manages memory and learning, to physically shrink. At the same time, it disrupts the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for making choices, regulating emotions, and setting goals. This is why people with severe depression describe feeling like their brain has been replaced with wet cement. It's not a lack of willpower, it is a physical breakdown in execution. But it goes much deeper than the brain. Depression is a whole-body illness. It completely scrambles your endocrine system, flooding your body with chronic stress hormones like cortisol. This leads to very real physical consequences: inexplicable physical pain, random joint pain, limb heaviness, and severe headaches. The fatigue wall, a profound cell-deep exhaustion where lifting a glass of water feels like lifting a boulder. Cognitive decay, a phenomenon known as depressive pseudo-dementia, where memory and concentration become so fractured that reading a single page of a book becomes impossible. When your memory is shot, your body is in pain, your energy is zero, and your ability to plan for the future is offline. You aren't just sad. Your entire platform for experiencing reality has been altered. Relationships break down, careers derail, and the person you used to be begins to feel like a stranger. So, if it's a physical illness, we should just be able to treat it with a pill, right? For decades, the public was sold a very simple narrative. Depression is just a chemical imbalance. You don't have enough serotonin, so you take an SSRI to boost it, and you're fixed. Here's the honest, peer-to-peer truth. That narrative is entirely oversimplified, and in many ways, scientifically outdated. Antidepressants like SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, work by keeping more serotonin available in your brain's neural pathways, and for about 1/3 of people, these medications are an absolute lifesaver. They provide the floor needed to rebuild. But massive landmark psychiatric studies, like the STARD report, have shown a devastating reality. Roughly 30% to 50% of people with major depression do not respond adequately to standard antidepressants. This is known as treatment-resistant depression, TRD. Why? Because depression isn't just a shortage of juice in the brain. If it were just about serotonin levels, antidepressants would fix the issue within hours, because they change chemical levels in the brain almost instantly. But they actually take 4 to 6 weeks to show clinical benefits. That lag time tells us that the real healing happens because the brain is slowly trying to grow new neural pathways, a process called neuroplasticity. If a person's brain has lost its ability to adapt and grow new connections, due to genetics, severe trauma, or prolonged inflammation, boosting serotonin is like pouring fuel into a car with a broken engine. The fuel is there, but the car still won't move. So why do some people never seem to overcome it? Scientists are now realizing that what we call depression might actually be several different illnesses masquerading under one name. First, there's systemic inflammation. New research shows that for many people, an overactive immune system sends inflammatory signals to the brain, altering neurotransmitters and shutting down deep brain pathways. Standard antidepressants do almost nothing to fix chronic inflammation. Second, there is the deep stamp of epigenetics and trauma. Severe chronic trauma, especially during childhood, can fundamentally alter how your genes express themselves. It locks the brain's alarm system, the amygdala, into a permanent state of high alert. It alters the brain's reward processing circuitry. When a brain has been wired from youth to operate in a hostile survival mode, standard medication simply isn't powerful enough to completely rewrite those baseline neural maps. For these individuals, depression isn't an acute episode they are waiting to pass. It is a chronic, structural condition they must manage daily, much like someone managing type 1 diabetes or rheumatoid arthritis. If you are watching this, or if you love someone who has spent years cycling through different medications, feeling like a failure because the pills aren't working, I need you to hear this. It is not a personal failure. It is not a lack of effort. The human brain is the most complex object in the known universe, and depression is a deeply entrenched, multi-system illness. Expecting a single chemical modifier to completely reverse years of structural, genetic, and inflammatory changes is expecting a miracle from a tool that was only designed to be a stepping stone. The medical community is finally catching up, shifting focus toward cutting-edge treatments like neuroinflammation management, TMS, and neuroplasticity-focused therapies. Until those become universal, the best thing we can do is drop the judgment. Stop asking people why they can't just snap out of it, and start recognizing depression for what it truly is. A fierce physical battle that takes immense courage to fight every single day, whether the medicine works or not. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.